Hello. Thank you.
You can keep that bit in.
Yeah, I can. Hello one and all, and welcome to Behind the Glass, the podcast which aims to take you behind the scenes of the YouTube channel Seen Through Glass, as well as the automotive and social media worlds. You join me, your host Sam, from the YouTube channel Seen Through Glass, as well as Tony from Gravel Car Sales. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Wherever you're listening to us, at whatever time, you are welcome.
This is worldwide.
This is worldwide. If you're joining us here on the YouTube channel, thank you for tuning in. Make sure to hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss future episodes. If you are listening to us audio only, well, welcome. And make sure to follow us. Welcome. Follow us on whatever platform you are listening to us on. Today we have a few different topics that we want to discuss, mainly themed around two main areas. Firstly, we're going to talk about TV and my dalliance.
Terrestrial TV.
Well, yeah, no, dalliance is a weird word, isn't it? Me dipping my toe in the waters of traditional media.
Okay, fine.
Because a long time ago now here on the podcast, we sort of teased a story that I had to tell about how I very nearly ended up presenting TopGear USA.
Which was about a year ago. It was longer than that.
Did we tease that story or that happened?
No. When it first come out, because I remember we was going somewhere and you said, mate, I might be on TV. Like, I might be going to... We're
going to get into it in a second. Okay. So that is to come. We'll also touch very briefly on my appearance on the Channel 4 show Peng Life. Am I saying that right? I don't know. I've also just done some recording for Yiannimize's TV show. And in general, it's just an interesting time to talk about that kind of stuff. Before moving on to our sort of car-themed chat today, is if you could take one car around the world, what car would it be? Ooh. And that's an interactive section. Yeah, we want to hear from you guys. Anyway, let's kick things off with televisi. That's Balinese for television. If you didn't tune into a recent episode, I went to Bali recently. Televisi.
We nearly died.
Yeah,
we ain't stopped going on about it.
Check out that episode if you haven't. It's a very depressing, dark episode. Okay, so yes, kicking things off with TV. Let's start with TopGear USA. So you're right. This was a long time ago. And it actually happened right at the end of Vlog Angeles.
It did.
We didn't really know each other then.
Not that well.
We actually met just before I left for LA.
Correct.
Because it was when I was looking to sell the F-Type. You were already going to Dub Customs. The F-Type was there. You were, oh yeah, I'll buy this piece of crap.
That's not quite what I said,
not quite.
Similar.
We chatted a bit and I dropped the car off. Actually, no, we did know because I bought the Biposto and I left it here before I went to America.
That's right.
God, memories. So, yeah, for any of you that weren't watching Seen Through Glass at the time, Vlog Angeles was my 2.5 month series based out of LA. I did a video every single day. It was absolutely incredible. I loved it. It was amazing. It was a great series. If you haven't watched it, there's a playlist over on the main channel called Vlog Angeles. It was a brilliant experience.
Below.
Sorry?
No, link below.
Thank you. There he is. Pro YouTuber Tony from Gravelwood. The link below. So if you're listening to us, head over to the YouTube channel and just search out Vlog Angeles. But at the end of the trip, it was my final week. I had Paul Wallace from Supercars of London there with me, and my best mate Rob was actually staying at the same time. And we were driving to Vegas for SEMA, which is the modified car show. Ever been to SEMA?
No, I've not done that or Monterey, but I'm definitely going to try and pencil it in for next year.
Do you think SEMA's up your street?
Probably not.
No. I don't think it is either. It is the max power show of the late 90s times 10 zillion.
No, that's not for me.
It's huge, mate. It goes on 4 miles and you get pickup trucks that are like 70 foot off the ground.
Do you like it?
It's quite fun.
Okay.
It's exhausting, but it's quite fun.
Okay.
So we're on our way to SEMA and I get this email. Hi Sam, my name's Nick. I'm a producer for the BBC America.
The emails have accents?
Yes, literally. And that was his exact accent. And it said, we're producing the new series of TopGear USA and we'd love to have a chat. Have you got a number we can call you on? And I was like, this is Lenny the Geezer. This is winding me up. Yeah, this is very strange. And Paul was right there with me, but I didn't really say anything because I thought it's a bit of a weird thing to say, hey, Paul, sorry, TopGear USA, trying to get hold of me. So I sent him my number. He called me up and he said, look, we've seen your Vlog Angeles stuff. We've come across you. TopGear USA has been off the air for 3 years or so now. It was a bit of a disaster in its previous generation. The viewing figures bombed, and so we're looking to redo it. And we're looking to find an all-new presenting lineup. So
Cast.
I was like, cool, how can I help? Like, you want me to do a shout out on Twitter to try and help people audition? Like, and they were like, no, we would love you to come along and have a chat and see if this might be something that could work. And I was like, this is so weird. So he said, look, our producer and director are in SEMA right now. Are you going to SEMA? And I was like, I'm literally on the road to SEMA. He said, okay, well, what are you doing in 3 hours time? Can you get to this hotel and can you meet our producer and director? And I was like, yeah, sure, fine. So very weird whirlwind kind of moment. And off I go to some hotel in Vegas, which sounds like a sort of McMafia meeting.
It's like a seedy night out.
Yeah, very seedy night out. There were no strippers and no cocaine, unfortunately.
Shame.
Yeah, real shame. And in the corner of a sort of hotel lobby, I went and I met with these 3 or 4 guys, all very sort of cool TV looking kind of people, maybe in their late 30s, early 40s. A great age, Tony.
Thank you. That's actually my age.
I know. That's why I was trying to be polite. They said, and at this point, I was still relatively clueless as to why they'd reached out to me, what I was doing there. It was all just a bit odd. So I felt like I was going for a job interview. You know, when you're a bit nervous and you just kind of say things to say yes to everything. Can you speak French? Oui! Can you ride a bicycle? I always ride bicycles.
Yeah. Can't you see?
Everything they said, I was like, no, sure, I love that. Oh, I would definitely consider relocating to the US. Yep, no. And it was very nice, and it was just a sort of weird chat about how I got into cars, what my aims were with YouTube, what I was doing there. I actually can't really remember what we talked about, but it was just a sort of perfectly nice conversation, and they explained chit chat, and they explained how they were trying to look for a new cast for TopGear USA, and it was going to be broadcast on BBC America, and it was very late in the day. That's the only thing I remember them explaining, that they'd found me very late in the process, and they had what they call an on-screen test day set up for a week's time.
So they had other people they were considering, or
lots of other people.
Okay,
they
fine.
said they'd been reaching out to people for ages. It'd been like a 3 or 4 month research process. They'd drawn up a short list, and in a week's time, they were doing an on-screen test day. Would I like to go along?
And you were in that shortlist.
I was suddenly on this shortlist.
Perfect.
Now I was supposed to be leaving LA. Vlog Angeles was over the following Sunday, and the test days were Friday and Saturday. So this is really right at the end of my Vlog Angeles trip. So I was like, fuming. I was like, I got to do a video. I got to do a vlog every day. Like, what's going on? How am I going to make a vlog when So I said, yeah, sure, I'll be there, because like, why not? And it was at, I'm not going to remember the track. There's a track in the desert just by LA. Really famous American track they all go to.
Laguna Seca?
No. Jay Leno goes there. Oh, why am I having a mind blank?
No, I don't.
It's in Top Gear all the time. Mate. Oh, completely.
Okay, some famous track.
Very famous track in the desert near LA.
This is only 40 minutes, by the way.
Sorry. I'll try and speed it up. Please just cut me off if I'm getting really boring. Off I get to the track day. I was told that there would be some on-screen sort of presenting test, and then there would be an on-track sort of review test. I get there, and I do not recognise one other person there. There must be about 12 other sort of, potential presenters. I soon find out they are essentially all US car journalists. Okay. So the Steve Sutcliffe of America, the Chris Harris of America, and I just didn't know who any of them were. Okay. There are a couple of sort of social media-ish personalities. I won't name check people, but some all nice people. No one that I don't think any of you would know. We start off having to do these slightly awkwardly set up, very Top Gear style things of, here's a Mazda Miata, and Sam, you have to say why you love it, and John, you're going to say why you don't love it, and you're going to have an argument. So it was kind of like, like you see those classic Top Gear things of, I've just bought an MX-5 and it's the best car in the world, and then somebody goes, no, it's not, it's got rust on it, you're an idiot.
Well, actually, me and you could do that quite easily, but when you meet someone for the first time, you don't know their personality.
Zero chemistry.
We haven't got that anyway, but...
And also, it's acting. Yeah. Because I didn't get to choose whether I liked or disliked the car I was talking about. And usually what would happen is they would do one section where I was pro the car and the other person was opposite, and then they would flip it around and you'd have to be opposite and the other person would have to be pro. So it was super weird. And the cars that they were using were legitimately a Toyota GT86, and I think that was the car they were using, which I knew nothing about. These were all journalists who were like, well, this has got the Wankel 300 460C, and I was just like, it's white, isn't it?
That's a Mazda engine.
I mean, I haven't got a clue. I literally was like, It's a Toyota, isn't it? So I was absolutely clueless. But it was fun. I was a little out of my depth, didn't really get it. Then we had to go and drive a Shelby Mustang on track and do a sort of classic review on track. I had 3 laps. They put you in the car and you just had to deliver a piece to camera in your own time within 3 laps. That was okay, but again, I was a bit nervous, didn't really know anything about the car.
You're not really a reviewer.
I don't review. That's not really my thing. So I just was like, woohoo. So it was a long day and it was relatively fun, but a bit strange. The second day we met in a studio in Hollywood, and it was a bit more traditional. We had to sort of do pieces to camera down the line. Today I'm here with the 1989 Mercedes 250, blah, 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 which, you know, so you had to deliver pieces to the line, and we had to do fake interviews, on-stage interviews. So this was the 2-day process. It was okay. I didn't love it. I thought it was a bit weird. TV is very different to YouTube.
Absolutely.
Everything takes 1,000 takes.
Yeah.
It's a bit contrived.
Scripted.
Very scripted. Not much creativity. You just stand there and they say, okay, deliver the line. You deliver the line. You don't have anything to do with the cameras or anything like that.
You get told when to bark.
Get told your opinion. You don't have an opinion on TV. You get told your opinion.
Amazing.
But, you know, it was an experience. And I was like, cool, that was fun. What a fun way to end Vlog Angeles. See you all later. So I get a call 2 weeks later. Sam, we absolutely loved you. And we want to offer you the job. I was like, what?
This is when I remember you telling me.
Because literally, in my mind, it was just a fun, hilarious couple of days. So I was like, what? So they're like, yeah, we thought you were brilliant. We're going to send over the contract. I was like, oh my God, I'm moving to America. I'm going to become a huge TV star. I'm going on TopGear USA. How do I announce this? Like, I was calling, I was like, Mom, Dad, I'm moving to America. This is really big. Like, I don't know where to tell you, but I thought that was it. I thought it was done. So I get this email. The contract, no joke, is the size of the Bible. It is like 450 pages long.
Classic American.
Classic America, classic TV. I can't read the first line. It's like, the narrator of the nominee of the nominee's business is under the convict. And I was like, I don't understand this.
Solicitor.
Yeah, literally. I'm like, who do I know who got any legal understanding? And I emailed it to like 5 lawyer friends of mine and just said, help. All of which came back saying, do not sign this. Essentially, they wanted a 8-year exclusivity, and they wanted me to quit YouTube, and it was just terrifying. I can't remember the ins and outs of it, but it was terrifying. So I went back to America and I said, look, this is good. We've got to go through this a lot. This is not that simple. And we started a sort of a negotiating process. So this must have been November time, early December. It got to the point where I really freaked myself out, and I turned it down. And I said, I'm really sorry. I've thought about this long and hard. I'm not interested. So they then came back and said, we'd love a call. We really want to talk this through. We understand your concerns. Let's have a chat. So I had a call with them. They begged and they pleaded. They said, look, we really would love to, look at any of your concerns. So I said, fine, speak to my agent. Hello.
Hilarious. You ain't even got a blue tick.
Nope.
Which he's really annoyed about.
Literally fuming about. The only thing I want in life is a freaking blue tick on Twitter. I don't even care about Instagram. Just give me one on Twitter so I can DM Lewis Hamilton. So anyway, my agent, and end result was they bent over a barrel, gave me everything I was concerned about, gave me everything I wanted, and we're like, there you go, sign. So then I'm like, okay, well, now what do I do? So then they say, look, we're actually going to do a second on-screen test. We've got the sort of, we know who our 3 presenters are, but we just want to try a couple of other options. So I flew out to LA for 1 day. Some of you may remember this actually.
No, I remember you going.
Yeah, I went for 1 day. And I got there and I turned up in the room expecting to have, the 3 presenters and a couple of other options. And it was like a whole new audition process. There was about 12 people. A lot of recognizable people, and I'm talking about Hollywood celebrities, UK car presenters, American car presenters. Like, I knew almost everyone in the room.
Did they know you?
No one had a clue who I was.
Okay.
I was starstruck by a couple, like, like big names.
Okay, fine.
Obviously, the 3 that ended up getting the job were in the room. Motorsport, like racing drivers, really cool people. I was immediately out of my comfort zone. Firstly, in my mind, I didn't want this job. They were asking too much of me. I didn't think it was going to be a good move. So I was a little bit against it, but kind of forced into this position.
You had your guard up.
Had my guard up massively.
Yeah.
Secondly, did not think I was going into a whole new audition process. Thought I was going to just try out a few other people. thinking that I had the job in some sense. Because this has been 2 months of negotiations at this point. So I was like, why on earth, if they've gone through all this? I was applying for a US visa through them. Like, it was all a big deal. So I was like, well, why have they done all this if I haven't even got the job? And then it was the same old process of arguing about cars. So I felt very uncomfortable, didn't really give it my all, was a little bit starstruck about the people that I was interacting with, and left feeling like, well, that was a bit crap. I don't think I got the job. Anyway, this is going on for so long, this story, isn't it? Get back to the UK. They call up, we still love you. We still want you. Sign the paperwork. So I was like, oh, well, what?
I don't really
want it.
I convinced myself that I'm not doing it.
For some reason, I signed the contract. I don't know why. They then come back and say, oh, thanks for signing the contract. We're actually still talking to the network. We'll get back to you. So I was like, what? About a month later, I get a note. Hi, Sam, thank you so much for everything. We're actually going in a different direction and we've chosen 3 other presenters. So it was a really weird, very strange situation that I turned down basically twice. They begged me about it, and then they went in a different direction. So in the grand scheme of things, and hindsight's a beautiful thing, it worked out great. I didn't get the job. I didn't want the job. And I don't think the show performed that well. But
and
who
you
cares?
Continue on your path.
Yeah, I continue on my path, and the
yeah.
opportunities that presented themselves have been amazing. So a super weird experience, and my first experience of kind of TV and American TV. One I won't forget. It's just a weird experience. It's something I've never really talked about on the channel. I very nearly ended up, in this kind of presenter role for TopGear USA. Didn't.
And some people exaggerate nearly, but as you said, contract signed.
Yeah, I mean,
ready.
I remember, very clearly remember, this was just around the time about buying the 540C. And I remember we bought the 540C, and I said to you, I might have to give it to you for 6 months.
Yeah.
And you were going to keep it for 6 months.
Yeah,
I was like, I just have to keep making the payments, or like that was where we were at. You was like, why are you buying this car? If I said, well, because I still want the car, and it gives me 3 months of content.
I remember
this is when
you
it all
also
happened.
being worried about YouTube, as in, you can't not upload for 6 months, mate.
Well, the problem was that they didn't want me to upload, and I couldn't upload, but they didn't want me to say what I was doing. So it would have been 6 months, and my channel would have gone dead. And I wouldn't have been able to say why. I would have just disappeared for 6 months. I've run out. I'm actually feeling a bit nauseous. I've been speaking so long, I've run out of breath. But yeah, very, very weird situation. Something I haven't talked about before. I hope you guys have found that interesting. That's 18 minutes of waffle. Have you got any water, mate?
Yes,
sorry. I literally feel like I've just been talking for so long.
It's the earthquake again.
It's the earthquake. It's coming back. I know we were going to say we're going to talk about Peng Life and Yiannimize, but I'm a bit bored about talking about TV for now. So let's come back to that if we run out of time on the other things. Let's get into let's get into cars. Let's get into cars. Also, because I want you to talk a bit because I'm exhausted. Let's come on to our main topic of today. Now we've moved on from my TopGear USA story and discuss one car that we would take to drive around the world.
Now, can that be? Do we set a budget? Can it be? Thank you.
Just moving, turn his microphone closer to his mouth.
As if I don't speak loud enough.
Whilst eating a biscuit. So, no budget.
Fine.
I think it has to be realistic in the sense that, let's say you are doing a continuous round the world trip.
So practical.
It has to have some levels of practicality.
Fine.
You've got to think you're going to have a suitcase full of clothes for a year. You've got to think that you're going to be driving over some terrain that is going to be uncomfortable. You're going to be driving through different seasons. It's not all going to be sunny. So,
not supercar then.
Well, if you can think of a practical supercar, sure, but not LaFerrari.
No.
So, and you might be going through some areas where it's not great to have a bright red or bright yellow Lamborghini, for example. So, yeah, an air on the side of practicality. But also, we like fast cars. There's no point in going around the car.
No, we rule out supercars because you can't put a suitcase in a supercar, mate.
I think we have to rule out supercars.
We rule out supercars as much as it would be unbelievable to drive a 488 around the world.
Agreed. I would say, though, I'm not going to rule out a 911 with a roof box. Hello. Because there is a car that in a lot of countries can go a little unnoticed. It's not too in your face. It's not too shouty at 911. If you get one with 4-wheel drive, so a turbo or just a 4S, you're going to be able to take on most, terrain. It's got 4 seats. It's got a boot. It's got all the equipment you can need. It's going to be reliable. It's going to be fast. It's not the right choice, but it's an option.
I've already thought of my car.
Go on. If you say RS6, I'm stopping this podcast right now.
It's not an RS6. Because there's no budget. I'm going to go V12 GT4 Lusso.
Okay. This is a very good shout.
I know.
Except for a few reasons. Tell me why you would pick it.
Because a Ferrari, firstly. It's fast, it's practical, it's got 4 seats, it's got a big boot. It's crap on fuel, but...
That's one of my reasons why it's not a good idea.
I've got a few quid. Another downside to it would be, if you went round the world in a Ferrari, you would do upwards of 50,000 miles?
No, if you were actually literally driving around the world, every single country, like 100,000 miles.
Okay, fine. It would be worth not a lot. Literally.
And if you're buying a Lusso, a V12 Lusso for 250 grand,
correct.
Gone.
That's an expensive trip.
So that's my concern. Fuel, whilst you say you got plenty of quid, there'll be some places you go is looking for fuel stations.
Okay.
So, for example, there's parts of Australia that you'll be going across where you might not see a fuel station for 300 miles.
Big tanks, though, mate, in them cars.
Big-ish.
But very juicy.
Very thirsty.
Yeah.
Service schedules and maintenance. Not everywhere you go in the world is going to have an easily accessible Ferrari
Ferrari's
dealership.
got service pack, mate. 7 years.
No, Ferrari service centre.
Yeah.
Not service pack. What if you are in Romania? How many Ferrari service centres can you find in Romania?
No. But you organise yourself, don't you? You don't just wake up one morning and go around the world in my GT4 Lusso. You pencil it all out.
But the problem is, if something goes wrong with your Ferrari, which is not too unlikely.
No, they're fine.
No, it's not too unlikely. Finding an emergency repair, like that. What I'm saying is, if you go for a BMW, a Mercedes, an Audi, a Volkswagen, you're pretty confident that within a 50 to 100 mile radius, anywhere, you're going to find someone who can work on that car. Fine. And also, it doesn't matter if you go to Bob's garage. If you take a Ferrari to Bob's garage because you're in the middle of nowhere,
he's going to freak out.
He might not want to touch it. He might break it. So I agree the Lusso is an amazing idea, but the practicality of it could, and you get a puncture. Finding a tyre for your Lusso is going to be a headache.
Ferrari Assist, mate.
Ferrari Assist Africa, not so great.
How do you know?
But I can just tell you. It might be brilliant. Ferrari Assist Namibia. I think you're causing yourself too much of a headache.
Okay, can I go again?
Please. Because I need this water to refresh myself after my 18-minute monologue.
Okay, so what else can I have? I did actually just think of a car, and then I thought, actually, that's not going to work. So it's probably got to be German. In that respect, you are right then.
Bit of reliability.
Yeah. Something that's not mass produced, but still got to be special.
Because you want that feeling, don't you? You want it to be something with a cool badge and gives you a sense of occasion when you get in it.
What about the new Mercedes AMG 4-door?
Yes. Now, this was actually going to be my choice.
What?
Yeah. Sorry. So you've kind of blown my load a little earlier there. Okay, so yes, this is the AMG GT 4-door.
Yeah.
And we have become fans of the AMG GT because you bought an AMG GTR.
Yeah. It's a very good car.
So this isn't the GTR, is it? It's a GTS?
With 4 doors.
With 4 doors.
Yeah.
And
a big boot.
I actually saw one and got up close to one during the launch of the C63 Estate. It's very nice. It's not that practical. The boot's not that big.
Okay.
But who cares? Because you could put a roof box on it. I love a roof box. It's got 4 seats or 5. Maybe it's got a 5. I think you can get 5 as well.
Yeah.
Sporty as hell. Performs like an AMG GT. It's a Merc, so relatively reliable, we'd have to think. And you could probably find Mercedes service centers. You know, none of the parts of that terrifying. They're relatively familiar.
Yeah.
Goodish on fuel economy. It's a turbo. I think that's a very strong and solid choice. And you've got a lot of performance. It looks great. It's got road presence. It feels kind of special. But to flip side that, as a slightly more subtle variant, what about the E63S wagon estate?
You've got a bit of a...
I'm big on the wagons at the moment, especially the AMG wagons.
With the biggest problem with estate cars now, for me, is SUVs, mate.
Good point.
They've like taken the world over.
SUVs taken the world over, but SUVs still perform like SUVs. I don't care what you say about that stupid Urus. They are still fundamentally...
That actually could be one of the cars.
Oh, don't. What an awful piece of poo. Just wait for the Audi RSQA. It'll be much better in everywhere.
And half the money.
You know, you can't... Even if you're in a Range Rover SVR, it still feels like an SUV. That's not a bad thing. Whilst I think wagons feel a little bit more dynamic.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah. And I think it's personal preference as well, because people will be writing in the comments and shouting down the cameras at us at cars that we won't think of because it doesn't represent our driving style, what we like. Everyone is different. So a 911 is actually a really good shout because I was just thinking a bit more practicality.
No, and you're right. And I think if you were actually doing this and signing up all those cars that you lust after and go, oh yeah, we're printing around the world in an F12, when it actually got nuts and bolts, I think you would realise that's not...
Or a Panamera Gran Turismo would be awesome. However, boring.
Boring. I think it's boring. Yeah, boring. I think after a while, could have something else. Doesn't sound that
would
fruity.
Be perfect.
Yeah, there are lots of cars that would be great, but you'd want it to be exciting as well. And I'm going to really throw a curveball in here. And stir
as you always do.
Recently, Tony, I drove the new Aston Martin Vantage.
Oh.
And it's the best car in the world ever made.
Oh, that piece of stupid.
Okay, that's a stretch. That's a stretch. But I did like it's the perfect car for me. For me, that is the. And one day I will own that car.
Okay,
it's just going to happen, and it's the perfect.
Just
car
wait
for me.
6 months, and you'll save yourself $50,000.
Probably. But I was chatting to the dealer, and they showed me some pictures. I was amazed by how much you can fit in the new Vantage.
Okay.
And again, stick a roof box. No. But
Stradman.
I'm not against the idea of a front-engine GT car because I love them for me. So looking at a Vantage, even I think an F-Type's a little too impractical. They're definitely not as practical as a Vantage, or an AMG GT, or a DB11, or what's some other good? Because I think F12, A12, it's too much. It's too much money.
Mate, my AMG GTR would be a good round-the-world car.
It would be a great round-the-world car.
You get suitcases and then we know that.
For sure. I think that's a great shout, as do I think the new Bentley. A lot of money to lose, but it's a good wafter car, that is.
Mate, I've changed my mind. I'd take the AMG GTR.
But not the four-door?
No. The AMG GTR is better. It's faster. It handles. The only problem is with that is when it gets a little bit bumpy.
It is a bit bumpy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you've got to think, like in America, you're going to be doing a lot of long, straight roads.
No, but the roads in America are good, so that's fine. I was thinking more like Africa.
That's the thing is, I think you don't want to think too low as well. That's the only thing which then, unfortunately, starts to lean towards the SUV side of things, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because, and we are imagining the worst here. Like, we're thinking of, but I think...
we're asking a lot.
I sound very naive here, but I think Africa has good roads. That sounds like a real, white girl Chelsea, Sloan comment. I think Africa has great roads. I don't think you need an SUV, but I think it would help you in a lot of situations. So, what are our sporty SUV options? I already know which one I'm going to go with, but I'm going to let you speak first.
Well, the best sporty SUV that I've ever driven is the Macan GTS.
Ooh, I didn't see you going in that direction, but okay.
So what did you think then?
Well, I can tell you, I thought you were going to say Urus. Or Range Rover. But...
no, the Range Rover SVR, but I'm talking sporty.
Yeah.
You can't go round a corner in an SVR like you can a Macan GTS.
Well, my choice of SUVs right now, even though I haven't actually driven it yet, F-Pace SVR.
That's coming.
That is coming, and I think it's not half the price of the Range Rover, but it's a bargain. It's 75 grand. Looks great, sounds great. Jag.
It's the same car, mate.
F-Pace. Everyone loves the F-Pace.
Yeah.
I love the F-Pace. I always thought it's brilliant. That is probably, that's where I would lean. That's the direction I would lean in.
80 grand.
80 grand. It will take the miles well because people use those cars. It's not too prestige. People won't look too much if they don't really know. It just looks like a Jag SUV. Good ground clearance. Lots of space. I like that.
You take your F-Pace R and I'll take my AMG GTR, and then we'll figure out which is the best car.
It's a fun thought, though, isn't it?
Very
it is
fun.
A fun thought going around the world in a car on an adventure.
Yeah.
As I say, like, I think we'd all love to pretend that we would do it in 488 or whatever you might say, but even the thought of doing it in an AMG GT 4-door, the E63, an F-Pace, 911, all these, it's such a cool idea.
Very good.
We want to know what you guys would do it in. I would love to hear suggestions, because as Tony mentioned, I'm sure lots of you are going to come up with brilliant ideas
that we don't even think
about. But as they don't go crazy, there has to be a side of sort of sensibility or caution.
What about the fast Alpha SUV? Stelvio.
I didn't love that car.
No.
I'd have the Julia over it every day.
Yeah.
And Julia with a roof box. The amount of roof box suggestions we're going to get now. Hurricane with a roof box. I will take a Veneno. I'll just put a roof box. I'll pull a trailer behind it. So yeah, try and be relatively sensible. But we'd love to know. Okay, that's that topic. And no. Moving on. Okay. Let's very quickly go back to the TV things brutally. Did you see Channel 4's Peng Life?
I didn't, but I don't know nothing about it, and I want you to tell me.
I don't know much about it either.
You was in it, mate.
I was in it. UK's viewers of this podcast may know about a guy called the Chicken Connoisseur.
And what is this?
Elijah. He became viral a year or so, or 2 years ago, reviewing chicken shops. He was a man of the people. He spoke a language I didn't really understand.
How old is this man?
He's 20-something.
Okay,
he looks,
young.
I think he wouldn't mind me saying he looks about 12. And I think he uses that as his USP.
Fun.
But he's mid-20s.
English.
English. Not sure where he was from. I can't remember where he's from. But
he likes chicken.
He loves chicken. And he's from a generation and from a clique. A scene that I've never. I mean, I wouldn't even know where to begin getting involved with. But he was incredibly nice, and his friends were unbelievably nice. But they spoke a language, and had.
You didn't understand.
I'm not clue, mate. Not clue. I don't eat chicken. I don't go to chicken shops. But anyway, he went viral. People loved him. He was very funny. He is.
Go
very
to Nando's,
funny.
mate.
I do go to Nando's,
You
but
do
I
eat
think
chicken.
he considers Nando's to be like the Ivy, or like a really posh restaurant version of a chicken shop.
Right,
We're talking
okay.
about like Ken's Chicken.
Okay. Favourite chicken and all that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
But as a really cool guy, really nice guy. And Channel 4 gave him a TV show. And it was called Peng Life. And with his mates, he reviews the top end of the market, the bottom end of the market, and decides which is better for value for money.
So where did you come in?
Cars. The first segment of the first episode was reviewing the car market, a top end car and a bottom end car. Every episode or every segment, he has industry experts help him make his decision. So he had me and Jody Kidd in an MX-5, and me in a Lamborghini Gallardo. Now, for any of you that watched it who are car fans will know that the Gallardo was a bit of a dog. It was an old, beaten up, manual Gen 1 Gallardo that had been bastardized to look like a Superleggera. And the MX-5 was just a standard sort of
Paul
track
Walsh's
going.
old car.
Yeah. And we just had to appear on the show and kind of convince him why our car was better than the others. It was, again, a really fun experience, quite weird, quite bizarre. I loved doing it because it was putting me out of my comfort zone. I guess integrating with an audience that definitely wouldn't have watched my content before.
No.
And it's just great to meet the guys and check out what's going on. But yeah, it's odd. It's odd. But I think with the wrong generation and with the wrong scene.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Like, if people listen to grime music,
No.
Coldplay don't do grime music, so I don't. Anyway, it was super cool. If you want to check it out, it's not called Freud anymore. It's called All Four, I think. Oh, I can't remember what it's called. Channel 4's online service. It's still on there. Peng Life. Really fun. Really glad I did it. An awesome experience. Thank you a huge amount to Channel 4 and the Chicken Connoisseur for having me involved. But yeah, check it out. See what you think.
Good.
I think that's about it. A short podcast, but I really feel breathless. I don't know why. Probably because we just recorded a podcast before this one.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just too much talking.
No more TV shows to talk about?
Oh, yeah, Yiannimize. Sorry, man. Mate, I'm not with it. I need
Sorry
some sleep.
about that.
Sorry about that. It's not a very together podcast. It's felt very monologue-y. Yes, I recently filmed for Yiannimize's second series of his TV show, which goes out on Dave. The TV thing is fun. I'm not really looking to move into TV. I'm not chasing a TV career. There have been some awesome opportunities that have come my way. I don't like the lack of creativity in TV.
It is dying TV, isn't it?
Well, yeah. I mean, I watch shows on Amazon and Netflix.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do now.
I don't really sit down and watch much TV anymore. No. And it just feels like a very archaic way to make content.
Yeah.
And an expensive way to make content. You know, thousands of cameras and sound people and this and 18 takes for... I mean, the Peng Life clip was... We started shooting at 9 a.m. and finished at 5. And it was a 3-minute segment.
And it took all day.
And I can film a full 12-minute YouTube video, and I could film it in 12 minutes if I needed to, because I've done one takes.
Well, you can't when I do it with you.
No.
It takes all day.
Well, usually I take about 5 hours, but I have done one takes before. So
I don't believe you.
No, I've never done a one take in my life. So yeah, I'd say, you know, I'm loving the opportunities. I won't turn them down. I'll keep doing them. I'm not necessarily seeking them out. But yeah,
cool.
Great. We hope you've enjoyed today's slightly another interesting podcast. As I say, yeah, the round the world car thing's really interested me.
Very interesting.
The TV stuff I just wanted to get off my chest because lots of you have been asking about TV, so I just felt like we need to talk about it.
You're not going to automatically now become a TV presenter.
No, that's not what I'm looking to do. But
don't worry.
If Sky Sports F1, you're looking for a commentator, hello. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. If you're watching us here on YouTube, make sure to hit subscribe. If you're listening to us, keep following us on whatever platform you're listening to on. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, various social medias, and we will catch up with you very, very soon.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.